My wife told me, I think we should take a break. My ex-husband wants me back. I said okay. Now she regrets. I think we should take a break. My ex-husband wants me back. Those were the exact words Carol said to me across our kitchen table while stirring her coffee like we were discussing the weather. I remember blinking at her, waiting for the punchline. None came. My name is Joseph. I'm 38 now, but back then I was 33, married, and honestly, I thought we were doing okay. Not perfect, but okay. We had been married for 4 years, together for 6. We didn't have kids yet, but we were actively trying, or so I thought. Turns out, I was the only one trying. Carol came into my life when I was rebuilding from scratch. I had just left a toxic job, my father had passed away, and I was dealing with a lot of internal grief I didn't really know how to express. She was bright and confident, almost blindingly so. She had this sharp way of making the world bend to her. I was quieter, more reserved. I liked books, quiet evenings, and she liked rooftop brunches and loud, buzzy people. But somehow in the early days, that contrast felt electric. Her ex-husband, Malik, was this lingering name in the background. A smooth-talking businessman who cheated on her during most of their marriage. She left him, and from what she told me, it was one of the hardest but strongest decisions she ever made. I admired her for it. I believed in her resilience. I didn't realize she still left a window cracked open for him, just in case he knocked again. When she said those words, "My ex-husband wants me back," I remember this numbness crawling up my spine. It wasn't anger. It wasn't even heartbreak yet. It was just disbelief. Like watching someone flip a switch and deciding the life you built together was now on hold, because a man who broke her heart once was now playing piano at the door again. I said, "So what does that mean for us?" She didn't flinch. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "I think I need to see what this is before I commit to forever with you." I didn't scream. I didn't beg. But inside, something buckled. I said, "Okay, then go." It took everything in me to stand up from that table and walk out of the house without letting her see me fall apart. Because I did fall apart. For weeks. I stayed with my best friend Mark for a few days before I got a tiny apartment not far from work. It was dark, barely furnished, and depressing as hell. I ate like crap. I stopped going to the gym. I stopped calling my mom. I was humiliated, not just because she left me, but because she left me for the one person I thought I'd never be compared to again. Malik was everything I wasn't. Loud, flashy, always had to be the center of attention. He cheated on her with her coworker, and yet, somehow, he still got another chance. What did that make me? For a long while, I believed it made me a failure. I buried myself in work. I'm a software developer, and at the time, I was freelancing. The heartbreak, the loneliness, it became fuel. I worked stupid hours. I started building out side projects I had shelved for years. Eventually, one of those projects, a productivity app one had once built for Carol, ironically, got noticed by a mid-sized tech startup. They reached out with a proposal, licensing, and collaboration. I didn't jump at it right away. I wasn't trying to prove anything anymore. I was just trying to keep my head above water. But I took the meeting, then another. 6 months after Carol left, I signed my first major partnership deal. It didn't fix everything, but it changed something inside me. For the first time since the breakup, I stood up straighter. I started running again. I saw a therapist. I let myself cry in her office without feeling like a failure for it. I even let myself laugh sometimes. Carol didn't reach out for a long time. Not a text. Not a "how are you?" Nothing. I had no idea what was going on between her and Malik. And honestly, I try not to care. That was the rule I made with myself. She made her choice. Now I get to make mine. But fate's funny like that. Because when you finally stop waiting for someone to return, that's usually when they show up. And Carol did show up. It started with a DM on Instagram. Just a heart emoji on a photo I'd posted of me at a conference in New York. I ignored it. And she liked 3 more pictures. Still ignored. Then came a message. "Carol, I saw your app featured in that Forbes article. You always said you'd make something big. I'm proud of you. Proud of me." Like she hadn't gutted me and walked away like I was just a failed prototype she wanted to return. Still, I didn't reply. Not because I was angry, but because I didn't need to anymore. A week later, she called. I let go to voicemail. She left a long, emotional message. Said she was sorry. Said she made a huge mistake. Said Malik wasn't who she thought he was. That he had changed for the worse, not better. That the chance she took turned into a nightmare. I listened to the whole thing sitting in my parked car outside my apartment. She said, "I miss you, Joe. I miss your peace. I miss how you made me feel safe. You're doing so well. Maybe we could talk." That's when it hit me. She didn't miss me. She missed what being with me gave her. Safety, support, stability. She didn't love the man. I think she loved the life. I sat with that for a long time. I didn't respond. Not then. Because the truth is, I still loved her once. I just didn't know if I ever wanted to love her again. A week after that, I got an unexpected knock on my door. It was her. Hair pulled back, sunglasses in hand, looking about 10 pounds thinner than the woman who once spun in my kitchen while making pasta and singing Adele off-key. "Hi," she said. I was nearby. That's when the twist started to unfold, one I didn't see coming. Because behind that polished look was a woman falling apart. She didn't just come to say sorry. She came to confess something else. Something Malik had done. And suddenly, my heartbreak didn't feel like the end anymore. It felt like the beginning of something much deeper. I opened the door and just stared at her. For a second, it was like my brain short-circuited. Part of me wanted to slam the door shut and protect the fragile peace I had finally built. The other part, the old, bruised part, still remembered how her hand felt in mine during quiet movie nights. Grief has this sick way of mixing memory with longing. Carol stood there like someone who had just survived a hurricane but hadn't fully processed it. Her eyes were bloodshot, her hands trembling slightly. And the craziest part? I wasn't even angry anymore. I was just tired. I stepped aside and let her in. She walked in slowly, like the place still held muscle memory for her. She glanced at the couch we picked out together. The little bookshelf she made me build twice because she didn't like the angle. She sat at the edge of it like she didn't quite deserve to be comfortable. "I'm not here to mess with your peace," she said first. "I promise. I need to tell you something. I don't know who else to tell." I stayed standing, arms crossed, silent. She looked up at me and whispered, "He's not who I thought he was, Joseph. He's worse. I'll admit it." I rolled my eyes at that. "No kidding," I said, with a sharpness that surprised even me. "No, you don't understand," she insisted, leaning forward, voice shaking. It started small, a few controlling comments. He'd go through my phone. Then he started accusing me of cheating every time I went to visit my sister. And then he took money from my account without asking. Not once, thousands. Wiped out my savings. Then told me I owed him for rescuing me from a boring marriage. My stomach twisted, but I didn't say anything. I just kept listening. Carol continued, now barely holding it together. And when I tried to leave, he locked me in the condo for 2 days. Said he was protecting me from myself. He threatened to send private photos of me to my job, to my family. I was terrified, Joe. He's not just toxic, he's dangerous. I sat down slowly, all the breath knocked out of me. "And why are you telling me this?" I asked, voice low. "Because I didn't think it could happen to me. I used to roll my eyes at women who went back to their exes. Thought I was smarter. And now I've burned every bridge behind me. And the only person I ever truly felt safe with is the one I left like trash." There was the apology, not wrapped in roses or promises. Just pain. I could see that she meant it, but I also knew it wasn't enough. She wasn't here out of love. She was here because she needed saving again. Only this time, I wasn't offering the lifeboat. Not like before. "I'm sorry you went through that," I said finally. "No one deserves that." She nodded. "Thank you. But you chose him. Over me." "I know," she whispered. "I thought I'd outgrown you. That you were too careful. Too patient. I mistook your calm for weakness. God, I was so stupid. I didn't say anything. I didn't have to." Her words hung heavy in the air. She reached into her purse and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Placed it on the coffee table like a peace offering. "It's a restraining order. I finally filed it. The police are involved now. But I'm scared. And I've started seeing a counselor. I know I have a lot to work on." I picked up the paper, scanned it quickly. It was real. Court stamped and everything. "This isn't me asking to come back," she added. "I know I have no right. I needed to tell you. I needed to say it out loud to someone who once mattered." I nodded slowly, still feeling like I was in a dream. "So what do you want from me?" Carol looked down at her hands. "I don't know. Maybe forgiveness. Maybe just for you to know that you weren't the failure in this. I was." There it was, the crack in the mirror. She was finally seeing herself clearly, and it hurt. After a moment, I stood. "I appreciate you telling me, and I'm sorry for what you went through. But I'm not the same man I was when you left." She looked up at me, and I saw a flicker of realization in her eyes. "I know," she said quietly. "I can see that." I walked her to the door. She turned before stepping out. If I ever wanted to earn a second chance, would that even be possible? That question sat in my chest like a boulder. I took a breath, then another, and I said, "If there's ever a version of us again, it starts with you healing first. Alone. Not because you're scared or desperate, but because you've truly changed. And by then, I might not be waiting, but I'll still wish you well. She nodded, tears pooling in her eyes. Then she left, and I closed the door. I leaned against it and let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. I wasn't angry. I wasn't broken. I wasn't waiting. For the first time in years, I was just me. Later that night, I sat on my balcony, whiskey in hand, watching the city lights blink. My app had just hit 100,000 active users. Another company had reached out for a merger. My life was growing. Quietly, steadily. No explosions. Just peace. The woman who once walked out on me because I wasn't exciting enough had come back to tell me I was the only place she ever felt safe. Funny how that works. And the craziest part? I didn't feel vindicated. I just felt free. 3 months passed after Carol showed up at my door and confessed everything. She never called again, never texted, never tried to push herself into my life, which to her credit, I respected. I think she realized, maybe for the first time in her life, that not everyone she loses will sit around waiting for her to make up her mind. And me? I moved forward. I kept going to therapy. I kept running in the mornings, even when I hated every second of it. I kept working on the app, which by now had grown into something much bigger than I'd imagined. A tech magazine did a full feature on it and called it the next quiet disruptor in mindful productivity. It felt surreal. The same product Carol once brushed off as just another one of your side things was now my primary income, and a symbol of everything I'd become without her. And then came the email. It was from a woman named Celeste. She worked for a domestic abuse nonprofit and had partnered with a few tech founders to create support systems for women leaving toxic relationships. Apparently, Carol had given her my name. The email read, in part, Carol said your app helped her stay grounded during the worst parts of her recovery, that she used your journaling tool to track her thoughts and moods. She said you probably don't even realize what you created. I'd love to talk about how we can collaborate if you're open to it. I stared at the screen for a long time. I didn't cry, but I felt something twist in my chest. This strange mixture of sadness, gratitude, and closure. I agreed to the meeting, not because of Carol, but because I realized something. Pain can destroy or it can build. And if my own quiet pain could be used to help someone else out of their dark place, then maybe, just maybe, it wasn't all for nothing. The meeting went well. We started testing out a companion version of my app tailored for survivors of emotional abuse. It gave me a new purpose. Something that wasn't about making money or proving anyone wrong, but just doing something that mattered. And it was around that time, when I had fully turned a page in my life, that Carol came back one last time. This time, it was different. She reached out by email. Polite. Respectful. No hint of expectation. Just a short message. Hi, Joe. I heard about the work you're doing with the nonprofit. I'm proud of you. I just wanted to say thank you for letting me crash and then letting me go. I know now that I didn't just lose a partner. I lost someone rare. I don't expect anything. I just wanted you to know I'm still healing. I'm okay. I hope you are too. I sat with that email for a full hour. Then I replied, simply, I'm glad you're healing. I hope you stay on that path. Take care, Carol. No hatred. No hope. Just peace. That was the last I heard from her. A few weeks later, I was invited to speak at a panel about tech solutions for emotional resilience. Afterward, a woman approached me, early 30s, thoughtful eyes, asked if I wanted to grab a coffee and talk about potential collaboration. Her name was Leah. We ended up sitting for hours talking about grief, art, code, music, broken relationships, family. Nothing romantic, not yet, but it felt different, easy, respectful. The kind of connection that doesn't ask you to be anything but who you already are. It reminded me how love isn't about the sparks. It's about the steadiness. So now I live quietly. I work hard. I take care of myself. I spend weekends hiking or cooking, and sometimes I get invited to tech events that still feel too big for a guy who once coded in his tiny apartment with a broken heart and a half-eaten burrito. I don't know what Carol's life looks like now. I hope it's steady. I hope she never lets someone like Malik near her again. And maybe, just maybe, I hope she's kinder to the next person who offers her peace instead of chaos. Because I'm not angry anymore. I'm not bitter. I'm just proud. Proud of the man I became when she left. Proud that I didn't collapse, even when it felt like I might. Proud that I didn't retaliate or chase validation or lose myself trying to win someone back who didn't see my worth until it was too late. Karma didn't need me to do anything. It handled everything just fine. And me? I just kept walking. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories of heartbreak, healing, and strength. Unlock the drama. Uncover the truth. Let's get into the next story.